How you doing, good people? This is Dave Bit Animal. Okay, so today we're going to talk about an arcade port. It's from 1989, and the original arcade game came out a year prior in 1988. And this game is notable for really sparking the debate on violence in video games. When it came out, it was popular. So popular, in fact, that there was a cartoon where one of the characters in this game, well, a few of the characters in this game actually were in that cartoon. Today's game is NARC. Okay, so NARC basically follows the exploits of two cops, codenamed Max Power and Hitman, on their quest to rid the streets of drugs and take down Mr. Big. Now, they really don't mention drugs a whole lot in the NES version, but we knew what it was mainly because on the label, on the box art, they'd have a "Just Say No" sticker on it. And this game was promoted by Acclaim with an anti-drug message, mainly because that's what the primary message of the arcade game was. During the course of the game, you find yourself in a number of different locales dealing with a number of different gangs and gang types and gang member types, I should say. And some of those enemy characters are pretty out of place on the NES and are pretty disturbing as far as characters in a video game are concerned, especially characters from a video game in the late 80s. You have everything from flashers to pimps throwing dynamite to pervy clowns that patrol the red light district of a city called Kinky Pinky, to these souped up super strong drug addicts called Joe Rockhead or Dumpster Man. There's a guy that throws heat-seeking heroin needles called Spike. There's a number of different just really disturbing characters, and the way you fight those characters is equally troubling as far as 1988 is concerned, because some of them, well, your main means of attacking these enemies are your machine gun, your rocket launcher, and the ability to arrest them. If you hit an enemy with a rocket launcher, they blow apart. Think about that for a second. This was 1988, the NES. You hit someone with a rocket launcher and they, like, body parts fly all over the place. That was definitely not something readily seen on the NES at that time. So this game definitely should have sparked that violence in video games debate, if it wasn't for the fact that it didn't sell as well as you would think it would have sold, being as popular an arcade title as it was. One of the problems were the controls in the game. The arcade game has 4 buttons. The NES controller has 2 buttons. So you had a button to jump, a button to crouch, a button for your machine gun, and a button for your rocket launcher in the arcade game. On the NES, you tap the button to do an action to jump, you held it to crouch, you tapped it to use your rocket launcher, you held it to use your machine gun, stuff like that. It was really cumbersome and a really weird thing to do in a game, but that's what Acclaim chose to do. Well, that's what Rare chose to do because they developed it. And graphically, sound-wise, it's pretty on par with the arcade version. It looks good, it sounds good, it just doesn't handle very well. Thankfully, though, if you want the arcade experience of this game, it was available on Midway Treasures Volume 2 on the Xbox, the PS2, and the GameCube. And I believe it was also available on Midway Arcade Origins on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. So you can look for it there as well. Finding a copy of the NES version isn't terribly hard, but because of its notoriety, it may be kind of pricey. It might be kind of difficult to get your hands on. Yeah, so definitely if you are interested in a piece of video game history as far as the debate on violence in video games, you should seek out a copy of NARC. But be forewarned, the controls are not perfect in this game, and they can be kind of bad. So yeah, you should go into it with your eyes wide open. This is the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow.